Good morning from Sacred Space at Titania's Realm. It's it's raining today, bit of a bleak looking day, but that's okay. Rain needs to happen. We've got to have balance in the multiverses so the gardens can grow. I've been out and I picked a little cherry tomatoes that have come up randomly and wildly. So I'm getting the occasional free little cherry tomato. And so if you had smell-o-vision and you could smell my hand, it smells of the skin of the cherry tomato, really quite aromatic actually. So whatever chemical causes that aroma is very potent. I'm up late. I didn't sleep again last night. I was up awake till about 2:30, thrashing around, even though I hadn't slept the night before, really. I was like, this is ridiculous. This is not cool, man. So in the end, I must have finally drifted off. I don't know when, probably around about 4 or 5-ish. So I woke up at just after 10:30, I think it was. Yes, it was about 10:30. So I'm dressed, I'm up, I'm happening in a far out way, but I'm not quite here. I'm interdimensional right now. I'm probably still dreaming, and wake me up when it's over. So I'm going to be a bit flubbery like I was yesterday. I'm going to move in and out, and I might even get a bit hysterical at some points with, hypomania. So if I start random laughing and what looks like histrionics, it's just exhaustion, people, and probably the beginnings of hypomania. I could do with a good long cuddle right now, but that's not going to happen. So self-soothe. I'm looking out the window and my neighbour has a beautiful magnolia tree. I've just observed, just realised it's got about 6 massive big magnolia blooms on it. How delightful. So there's something beautiful to focus on apart from my sleep deprivation. And anyway, it's another day in paradise. And we will, as always, soldier, S-O-U-L, soldier on. Dragging my soul with me. Or is my soul dragging my body with me? Am I just hanging off these cheekbones, like Germaine Greer out in the closet somewhere? But Germaine Greer and I will never be in the closet, darlings. We're real women with real heart and soul and vitality. And so we're out of the closet. I spend enough time splonging around in my own darkness. In my closet, there's a beautiful, wide open door that enters into Narnia, and all things are possible and magical and manifesting in 3D reality in perfect timing. You can put me in a closet, but I won't stay there for very long. Babies, Mama T will always break out, even if it's only in her wild imaginings. I'm looking forward to a beautiful life surrounded by my true love partner and my true friends and my community, my tribe. It's happening, it's manifesting, I'm seeing it. But yes, we just have to be, we have to be patient. I've been patient for so long, 59 years, almost 59 years. In 1 month and 2 days. I'll have to think what I'm going to do for my birthday this year because my daughter's not in my life. and I was actually had some weird kind of aggravated, kind of weird mood state I was in last birthday, which I don't know what that was about, but it's weird that I felt so fucking awful. And then a few months later, my Bobo died. So maybe I was unconsciously intuiting that horror. So I'm thinking I might do something special for myself for my birthday this year. I don't know what though. Maybe take myself to Byron. Just be completely absent from, the world. Do my own thing. My solitary walk alone. Well, I don't walk, do I? I dance alone. Even though I'm sitting here in a chair, internally I'm already dancing, babies. I could sit on the beach and buy some. I could go to, if they're still operating, which I hope they are, I could go to Orgasmic Falafel in Byron Bay, have my favourite falafel lunch with their beautiful rose-flavoured lemonade, sit there with all the judgmental hippie Israelis. They never realise that I'm Jewish, so they all sit there looking at me. And then they see my tattoo and I'm like, you underestimated me again, boy chicks. But anyway, they're not too bad down there. The people that work there are just lovely and friendly and welcoming and sweet. But yes, even in the hippy-dippy alternative scene, you get judgmental, snobby, elitist cunts. They're everywhere, people. So I like playing with them a bit. I like torturing them just a little bit, Anyone that thinks they're better than someone else is already, in my worldview, extremely flawed and inadequate. There's no one is better than anyone else. We're all living miracles, especially in this current epoch. Some of us manifest our magic more extraordinarily than others, just saying, but it doesn't mean we're better. It just means we're a little bit gifted, a little bit unique, a little bit, what do they call me in the club? Not all of them, just a few random people. A little bit VIP. Oh well. I'm still amused by that, but it is lovely. It's so lovely to finally be in an environment where I'm seen and heard and cared for and respected and even loved. Like, you can't expect lots of people to love you. That's just insane, people. But it's nice to feel included and, people actually thrilled to see me when I'm there. Really thrilled to see me, want me to go 2 nights. Oh dear goddess. Well, anyway, if I get stronger and healthier, and if my urologist can calm my bladder signalling down so I sleep peacefully during the night without constant interruptions, I may be able to achieve more things and have more energy. That's the plan anyway. That's what my psych wants for me, because he loves me so much. He just wants to see me win and thrive and live wildly and triumphantly and joyfully and even gain prosperity somehow by my own success and undertakings. I always laugh about that word, undertakings, because undertaker. But anyway, that's the goal. Be happy. Be happy first and foremost. Be successful. Be joyful. I said that. Be in love with everything and everyone, including your gods and your own self. Don't let your own self down, ever. Be your own guardian, protector, guide, lover, friend, companion, when there's no lovers, friends or companions. around and own your own authority, own your own magic, and just take great delight in everything as if you were a newborn baby, seeing everything for the first time, but with the enlightened consciousness of awareness and a little bit of circumspection. Don't get suckered in, which is hard in this world, to not get sucked in. So, yes. So today's even readings, it's now 11:10 a.m. 1 more minute and we could make a wish. But it's not the same if it's contrived and you've already preempted the clock, you know. You only make a wish if you just happen to stumble across the 111 or the 1111. Here we go, 1111 now. If you want to, you can make a wish, but the gods know what all my wishes are. I repeat them ad nauseum daily, and they laugh at me daily, and sometimes I laugh back daily. Sometimes I cry. It's all part of the life force energy, being authentic at all times. Okay, so today's readings of even date are, why is it so flaming hot in here? I'm almost breaking into a sweat. I've got a long sleeve shirt on, which doesn't help. This is my fan. That's better. I put the aircon on 23 degrees. But anyway, I live in a sauna called Brisbane, Australia. Anyway, today's title is Hell Loops, Setting Boundaries, Money Consciousness, Evolution, David's Ashes, and the Blues. So it's going to be a very mixed bag today. All these cars driving up and down, up and down, up and down. So here we go. I write here, I titled it, Better Not Bitter. Love from Betty. Betty was one of my beautiful hens. Beautiful girl. Sitting up on my shoulder like a pirate's parrot. I put Charlie outside before and then it rained, so I brought her back in. She didn't want to go outside. She fought me about going outside, and then as soon as I put her outside, it started raining. I was like, well, I'll bring you back in now. It's stopped raining now. But it's, I don't know. I'll figure out what I'm going to do with our Charlie later. March 10th, 2023. I had a lovely evening with Jared. We went to Jackpot Dining in West End, then came home and watched Encanto together, which was a delightful movie. Jared's recommendation, because he knows how much I love, Mexican and South American culture and, well, I love anything ethnic and beautiful and folksy and down to earth, especially the spirituality and the magical sides of life that comes with that. It has inspired me to paint my front door in turquoise. I still haven't done that. My front door is an ugly, faded Federation green. It badly needs repainting. In fact, the entire house needs painting desperately. It's actually peeled off in parts to the bare timber. They don't care, do they? They want me to live in a hovel. They want me downtrodden. Look out when I rise up, bitches. At the moment, I don't care. I've been too ill. I just don't care. Last thing I have to worry about is paint. Every now and then it grinds my gears though. I've had a spirit whispering in my head for 2 days now. Stones Corner. Stones Corner. Specific. They are starting to drive me nuts. There is no reason for me sometimes words get inserted that I didn't insert. Is it AI or is it me sleep deprived at some stage on that even date, or what is it? I've written here, there's no reason for me to station Green Drive to Stones Corner. Station Green doesn't belong in there. What words don't belong in the sentence? To go back and remove that, won't I? How unprofessional. So I'm not perfect, people. Probably not really a VIP either. There was no reason for me to drive to Stones Corner except to go to Aldi or have a look at the Indian shop that sells crystals and cabochons, which those little bits interest me for my silversmithing, right? So perhaps they want me to pick up a little stone or something. Don't have much money for that, but it was odd. I just bought some little raw gemstones online from someone in the Women's Metalsmith Collective. So I have no desire to spend more money on stones, lol. My little gems arrived this morning and I immediately lost one while transferring them to their little plastic containers. I looked all over the floor, found one of them, but one is still missing. And I'm laughing because it's such a massive problem when you're a silversmith or you're a jeweller, and you spend most of your time crawling around on the floor looking for stones, right? It's just a thing. Until you get very clever at, making sure you don't drop things on the floor. But even the professionals have that problem from time to time, so that's why I'm laughing. Well, it's not really missing. It must be somewhere in a dark corner of my flooring, wedged behind furniture. But I gave it a thorough search, so, oh well, the pixie that steals my stuff can give it back when they are ready, I suppose. But yes, Stones Corner. Why all the nagging to go there? The last time they nagged me to go there, I didn't run into anyone I know, but did discover that the Indian shop sells cabochons, but I don't need any right now. I guess I could check out the second-hand shops though, but not today. I'm not feeling well enough to go browsing through shops today. I will only go to Total Tools because I need to refill the oxygen cylinder. In and out. Update. Later in the afternoon, I found the little raw ruby gemstone in my bottom drawer in my paper towels. Odd. That drawer wasn't open when the stones fell on the floor. But I am grateful that little pixie returned it. It wasn't valuable, but it was a tad upsetting to lose it almost as soon as I unpacked it. So I'm glad I found it again. So if you ever see me running around the house and garden calling on St. Anthony, which is cute since he's a Catholic saint, but he's also kind of a post-Christian renamed fairy that brings back lost objects. It was originally a pagan fairy type energy, but they call him St. Anthony. I think that's how it worked. But anyway, I prefer to think of him as a fairy than a Catholic saint for obvious reasons. But if you see me muttering around the garden going, St. Anthony, give me back my lost whatever, you'll be astonished at how many times that particular thing gets found or comes back to me. I had one pendant, a beautiful cloisonne pendant that was my mother's with a tassel that I had lost while out in the garden one time. It must have fallen off the chain. And it was just gone. And I looked as much as I could around the garden, couldn't find it. And I thought, well, it's gone now. It's probably buried in something. I'll never see it again. And so I sort of grieved this little pendant. It's a beautiful pendant, actually. Sort of grieved it for a couple of days. And I thought, well, you know what? Things go missing. What's meant to be yours will always be yours. And, whoever truly loves you will come into your life and stay. And don't sweat the small stuff. Just let things go. Let things be free. That pendant's lost out in the world and probably never see it again. And it's sad, but that's the nature of reality. So I'm giving myself all these fucking pep talks. And then I forgot about it, as you do, right? 6 months later, I'm walking out in the garden and there was the cloisonne in pristine condition with the tassel still attached to it, lying out in the grass in plain view. Like, the only thing I can think of logically for it to just randomly reappear like that, the odd thing was that it wasn't even dirty or, damaged in any way, was that some crow or bird had taken it up and tucked it up and woven it or placed it into their nest and must have lived in their nest for 6 months, and then they must have thought, what do I want with this shit, and kicked it out and it landed on the grass. Or something took it into their dimension for 6 months and thought, oh, she's over that now. Think I'll give it back to her and surprise her. That's the magical thinking way. But I'm sure the scientific explanation was it had been woven into some beautiful bird's nest and they just randomly, the nest either eroded or they deconstructed it, or I don't know. It's bizarre. It's one of the most bizarre things in my life, how that disappeared for 6 months and then came back. So, of course, I was very thrilled. I brought it back in and I haven't worn it much lately, actually. I used to wear it occasionally when I went out. But anyway, it's back in my possession, my mother's cloisonne pendant. So, that was really odd, how that just disappeared and reappeared as though it had never been missing, was still in its pristine state. That was the part that was odd. Anywho, 10th of March 2022. I guess if that pendant could tell me stories about where it went to, it'd be interesting, wouldn't it? Be very interesting. I always think of stories like in the 1001 Arabian Nights, the people going into the fairy, into the realm of the jinn, and they've been gone, they think they've been gone for only a day or two and they've been gone for 10 years or sometimes 100 years. That time malleability that happens when you go out into space and or into the other dimensions like the fairy realms. That always intrigues me. It really does. It does intrigue me. 10th of March 2022. Yesterday afternoon, my daughter chose the moment when I informed her that I almost lost Charlie as she was agonisingly egg-bound to attack me with her usual projections, victim blaming and gaslighting. It was like a hell loop yesterday. I had a lovely morning buying groceries at the Golden Circle, then went with Lynn to buy some fruit and veggies. I had gotten home in time for my debrief with my psychiatrist, then had discovered Charlie's medical emergency, so I was in a tailspin. Then my daughter rings me with her usual nastiness. She informed me that I am a man-hater. I calmly replied that that is simply not true. I have many male friends, including Jared, who has been a friendship that lasted 30 years. I told her that I am an abuser hater, and that crosses all genders and agendas. So then she told me I have such a great life with my disability pension and the cheap rent in my government house, while almost everyone else is struggling with jobs and private rent. This is kind of true. I am very well blessed and protected. But why even bring that up? It's just sick to shove that in my face. I may have cheap rent, but I live in dire poverty, so I'm paying the price in other ways, people. Dear Goddess, her envy makes my blood chill in my veins. But I ignore it. I'm not in a position of privilege, and even my pension had to be fought for over 2 years. I have a government home with cheap rent, as otherwise I would be homeless. She projected all her toxic, vile shit on me, so I calmly hung up. I finished my walk with Bobo and came home and literally felt shell-shocked, imploded, lost for hours after. Then I spent time watching the Mike Cavalli show and enjoyed that, as it is always a positive reinforcement that there are angels out there in the world who treat me with kindness, generosity, dignity, and tolerance. Then I got a call from Lynn to tell me that her neighbour's new puppy has ringworm, so it's not safe to bring Bobo for a while. Understandable. But that hell loop became a huge pit of despair, and I struggled mentally for the rest of the night. Yeah, I know. Flooding, COVID, war in Ukraine by her Russian neighbours, and the Tanya, daughter of the gods, spirals under over ringworm, for fuck's sake. But I also made a key decision to leave a group that has an ancient enemy of mine, she who slandered me back in 1989, as that too has been triggering for my already activated trauma issues. Psychopaths never apologise, and I can't bear to witness the hypocrisy of that particular woman aggrandising herself, knowing full well the damage she perpetrated on me and my children. Yuck. The beautiful young woman I was supporting to regain her sons was distressed that I left her group. But I am far away in Australia and have always been supportive, and my prayers and my angels will not be withdrawn. In fact, they will work even harder as I relinquish my attachment to a torrid, sadistic past and let go, let God. I simply need to protect my psyche, my body, mind and spirit from the spiritual attacks, both microcosmic and macrocosmic, as I carry too much for me to integrate right now, knowing I am too sick and vulnerable and accepting my limitations. is a kind of grace. I will keep fighting to maintain my home, my equilibrium, my safety and my spirit. One of the nasty things my daughter accused me of was paranoia. I find that trite, coming from someone who enforced mask mandates like a fucking capo in her job. I had previously instructed her to never do evil in the name of the state, as we are second and third generation survivors of the Nazi regime, and we must never, ever, ever stoop to that level of bestiality and insanity. But my daughter is 36 and thinks I am paranoid. So be it. There is a fucking history being repeated. I have been denied my freedom to dance, my breath, my body autonomy, freedom to eat in restaurants, dance in clubs, while the entire world devolved into further madness. And now I am paranoid? Fuck that shit. Fuck the projections and the everyday sadism. I have a dog and a bird that love me more than any human mortal, and I have my own self to somehow survive this paradigm. Breathless, awake in the night with only my quirky memories to comfort me each day, little reminders of how far I have come on my road to nowhere, on my rat wheel of fate, and only a few rare precious earth angels to hold my head up above the turgid trauma waters. Thank God for those kind souls. Thank all the gods. I am grateful. I am my beloved, and my beloved is mine. Frankly, I don't know how much longer I can keep doing this life, but every day I'm trying to rise above the horrorscape, not of my own choosing, and steer towards a more serene, sanguine, safe horizon. It's a work in progress, an art form, survival. I excel at it. One of the few things I have accomplished, cast upon me like an invisibility cloak, a mantle of honour that sometimes gets spattered by other people's shit. Rinse and repeat. Same shit, different day. Hooray! Up she rises. Never give up on my life, my spirit, my love. It's 3:04 a.m. I need to sleep. Smiley face. Dear Goddess, I could sleep for a month and it still wouldn't be enough. Anyway, on we go. 10th of March, 2019. Last night was rather intense. My new Vietnam vet friend gifted me with a fold-up paper fan. That was he who pointed the bone at me only a few months later, the little shit. What was his name? It'll come to me in a minute. Anyway, I'm so tired I can't think of his name. Which he had kept in his pocket for me since the previous weekend, or so he says. I very much doubt that. Sweet. He is quite passionate about me, even though I have already set limits by declaring I am interested in a platonic friendship only. Early in the morning, Not sure how, but the subject of money came up. I quipped that I had only $10 to live on until Tuesday, and I am sick to death of dire poverty. What she says. He quickly offered to give me $50. He was American. Richie, knew it would come back to me. Richie. I gave him a long, hard stare. I do not want to be owned by anyone, especially fiscally. But his intentions are very sweet, I hope. So I said to him, "No, hun, I can't accept that. I have lived this way for decades, and if I start asking people for money, it becomes a constant drain, and I cannot do it. Also, I feel it is enough if some kind soul buys me a drink during the night." So I watched him dissemble emotionally at my rejection of his monetary buffer. Then he turned to me sadly and said, "What is wrong with me that you can't accept money from me?" I thought that was very telling about his personality indeed. I understood his pride was hurt as an older man who wants to be a closer friend than I'm willing to accept right now. Old school, wanting to look after me in some way. Again, a sweetness. But I said to him, let me put it this way. I have wealthy friends who help me out with money. One who did it in such a way that I can accept her help honourably as I foster her cats. I have a lot of pride, and I am sorry I even mentioned my situation, as I did not intend for you to feel you have to help me with money. I get by with a lot of help, and I cannot exist as someone who grasps for people only for money. Then he understood. He smiled. Later, he noticed me watching a beautiful Aboriginal woman dancing joyously. She had danced with me a few hours before. He said, I should take her home. I smiled. He is always trying to get a handle on me. I said, I love women. I find women beautiful and sensuous, but I don't love women. So he said, but you obviously find her attractive. Just take her home and cuddle with her. Feel her body next to yours. See what happens. That's his fantasy, right? Am I right? Or his projection is probably what he was hoping to do with me. Cheeky bugger. Anyway, I smiled. You might not realise it, but I'm actually heterosexual, and I have no interest in taking anyone home to cuddle them. Although I did say before, I feel like a cuddle, right? Oh dear goddess. I'm so, what's the word? Obstreperous. Many here assume that I am gay, but I am not. If anything, after decades of trauma, I am actually more asexual and celibate. One can love or admire a woman without feeling any sexual desire for her. It must be sad to be a man who sees women only as means of sexual or sensorial comfort. So together, he and I are doing a lot of healing. I realise that many of the regular women admire me only because I represent a sense of safety. I am always my own authentic self, protective of the women in my space. Had to fend off one male friend from my new friend Michelle, laughing my ass off. Sometimes I am fierce and others quietly osmosing my own trauma issues. I was under observation by many of the regulars as one man who used to be in a relationship with a woman I really like kindly bought me a couple of drinks and chatted with me. He is a nice man, likeable. It turns out he is of German descent too. Jesus, I thought he was Italian. That was Tim, I remember Tim. Nice man. It's weird how I keep attracting Germans. But anyway, apart from that, I don't want to be a rebound and or comfort woman. So when he disappeared, presumably to the loo, I finished my drink and returned to the dance floor, which is typical of the Tanya. Maybe he was offended at my slippery, sidewinding escapism as he kept away after that. I think he was lining me up because he and his little sweetheart, they had this on again, off again romance. They would fight and not talk for sometimes long periods of time, and then they'd get back together. And because I knew this, I wasn't buying into it when he was between women, right? I'm not buying into that. They'll get back together and then I'll be made to feel like the arsehole. Not that she ever did. She was a lovely, lovely woman from Indonesia, extremely elegant and beautiful. But anyway, I was wise because I thought, why is he suddenly wanting to chat to me and buy me drinks? I'm thinking, what's going on here? And then I realised they were on one of their little breaks. So I knew back then that I want a man who's deeply in love with me and loyal and faithful to me, not someone else's crumbs from someone else's table or leftover bed sheets. That's not what I want. But too many people were commenting, and after all, that place, that's right, her name was Lucia. I've been sitting here struggling to remember her name. Lucia, lovely woman. She actually said to me, you can have him if you want him, he drives me mad. I'm like, no. I don't do polyamory, I don't do threesomes, and I don't do the scraps from some other woman's table. No. I need my man, my own man, who values, cherishes and adores me and prioritises me and chooses me beyond all other women, because I'm sick of being treated like leftover damaged goods by fucking psychopaths. I really am. Happened too many times in my life. It's not going to happen to me again. Not by choice, not willingly choosing to blindly throw my heart down into some fucking deep sewer well and dive in after it to retrieve it. No. Mamati won't be doing that. I pray to all the gods I don't make that mistake ever again. I don't think I could survive another heartache like that. I think I would die. I really do. And I fought too hard to keep alive and sustain myself against all the odds to finally implode over some douchebag man ever again. And I have lovely men in my life at the moment, men who literally light up with joy and bliss when they see me, all platonic, but all loving and all sweet and heartfelt and caring and wanting me to be happy and healthy and wanting to see me win at long last and wanting me to dance even more wanting me to join in more of their gigs. That's one friend. And, then the security guard wanting me to come more often to the Brooklyn Standard. Just wanting more and more of me. And I'm piecemealing, slowly building up my strength and my vitality. So eventually I can expend more of my energy in the wild dance. But I want my own man, my own beloved one. But I continue on about that evening. But too many people were commenting, viciously gossiping, because I was just talking to Tim, who actually is a long-time casino friend. We danced every weekend, most weekends. Him and Lucia and her other friends would always come and join me and dance with me. So we were friends, but they're all trying to make it into something sordid, or it's just weird. So I felt uncomfortable. So when he went to the loo, I went back to my infamous spot. And after all, that place has been a source of much betrayal and heartache, so it's not where I expect to meet a sexual partner. Ever. I have zero trust. So the dancing continues, hopefully surrounded by the few rare birds that are trustworthy and decent and kind. One can never tell who is real and who is not. Time and healing will take care of all of that. Indeed it does, and it did. And I've seen who is real in my life now. And I'm grateful for that. It took a long time to sort the wheat from the chaff. I finished off my night scoffing down a pie and ginger beer with my last $10, laughing my ass off. It's how I live, people, literally scraping right down to the very last cent. Talking to George. I thanked him for his loyalty and kindness over the years when I got attacked in that filthy Irish pub, Irish Murphy's. He mentioned he saw Dave a few weeks ago. I nodded. He said that he knew he tried to cause me harm too, using George to hurt me. I nodded. I said, next time you see him, tell that dickhead that I have moved on, and in fact it took him using you, George, to get me to move on, as only then would I accept the constant betrayals. He still stalks me occasionally, but I just rise above it. George nodded and smiled. We share a bond of complex PTSD, and I honour his loyalty, a rarity in that space. I drove home, exhausted, and in my heart feeling bereft. No cuddles, no real lover for me, even missing Dave. Why would you miss someone that was such a fucking asshole to you? That's my damage, people. It's really not cool. But anyway, obviously I'm over it and I don't miss that entity anymore. But I got in my bath and washed the attachments crawling under my skin away. It really was like having worms feeding under your skin, writhing, that whole fucking thing with that man. And watching my dog loving me unconditionally, and thought, I have an awesome life. It's not so bad. Onwards and upwards to infinity and beyond. The timelines are twitching and scratching on the cosmic DJ's station, cacophonously out of sync, but the psychedelic dreamer sings in her own spirit now, a long, hard howling, formidable. Oh, and another unusual thing happened. While I was drinking with my male friend, the energy around us was like twittering, gossiping birds laughing my ass off. So many saboteurs in that space, as if I am not perfectly capable of fucking sabotaging my own potential love affairs. One of the regular guy friends moved in on me, a deliberate attempt to steal back attention. They really were like naughty children, all of them. They really were, in varying degrees of just derangement at that casino. But I put up with that shit for 13 years. So I must have been deranged too. I must have. Either that, or as my psychiatrist often says, I was gaining mastery over the psychopath, because I needed to after my childhood. So I guess it was kind of a training ground for me in a way too. But my God, it was like being tortured sometimes. It really was. Except for the wild, crazy dancing that I did every weekend, I would not have been able to forbear dealing with a lot of those idiots. Anyway, I nodded and smiled and casually scratched his back. See, that was Luke, who liked. He's on the spectrum and very asexual too. But he used to ask me to scratch his back. To be honest, sometimes I would scratch his back a little bit viciously because he'd get annoying, demanding that all the time. And I don't like men making demands on me. So he'd fuck off for a while and come in. Can you scratch my back, Tanya? But I thought, oh, what else has he got going on in life, the poor little fucker? He was a sweetheart in a way. Very, 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 very much introverted on the spectrum. So I'd scratch his back and then I'd tell him to fuck off after a while and carry on dancing. But he was sweet in a way. I kind of miss him sometimes. He was an oddball. I kind of miss him. He was all right. He would always come up to me on the dance floor and he'd say, we had another acquaintance there called Peter, who was a very broken man. He was a sweetheart, but very broken. And I had a soft spot for Peter because I know how broken he was. We had the same childhood, just saying. And so Luke would always run up to me and he'd scream out, Peter! And I'd be like, Peter! Peter got banned, I don't know why. It was not long after I did one of my shamanic healing hugs on him because he was suicidal that night. And they banned him. They banned the broken, sweet men who were actually gentle and kind and did no harm to anyone. They banned them. They banned the nice people. Told me to leave because I'm not 5-star enough for the new venue. Didn't dare ban me though. But I won't go back. Fuck them with their rancid evil and their putrescence. Let them sit with their slime and their vomit and their pus. Another place I won't go back to. So, and no regrets either. I've finally evolved in my core and gained enough mastery over the psychopath to know that where I spend my time and energy is deeply precious. So I go where I'm loved and celebrated and treated with respect and kindness. I'm not pouring money and my energy that I expend from dancing into fetid spaces anymore. I've finally grown up and grown out of it. Praise all the gods. Anyway, so I'm casually scratching Luke's back Then, quite surprisingly, another male dancer who I know has been vaguely sweet on me, grabbed him and steered him away from me. I was like taken aback. That is the very first time anyone has let me be courted in that place without envy or sabotage, like a wow moment. I watched briefly in amazement. He must have really thought that Tim was really, really wanting something with me to kind of protect that interchange. But anyway, so later on, I found that guy and thanked him. Can't even remember who that was now, but it was very sophisticated of him to do that. He said, "For what?" I smiled and looked into his eyes. "You know, oh you know." And we grinned at each other. He probably had no idea. Maybe it was a reflexive thing. Anyway, it is refreshing to see someone actually care about my prospects of a love affair, even if I already knew at that moment in time I was not going to pursue it. Funny old world, innit? By the way, I am in the garden with a breeze gently caressing my face and the sun sinking low on the horizon, feeling comforted by the gods and peaceful. I slept most of the day until 4 p.m. So yeah, there has been a shift in consciousness since I ended one of my friendships early this year. My words to her were, "Don't fucking sabotage me." It was like a key fitting in a lock to a door in my mind and heart, naming the demons that still dog me. When you name the devil, you take back your power. Suddenly, after disengaging with those former toxic women friends who called me the nutter, it was like a fluttering of paper notes dropped from an aeroplane, and so many lovely men have stepped forward with vague expressions of interest. A block has been at least partially removed. I am curious to see who is entering my life next. Perhaps I shall be blessed with the one after all, smiley face. What year was that? I'll have to scroll back. Where were we? Oh my goodness. 2019 and 10th of March, so a few months before my near-death experience, which removed a few other blocks on my psyche too. Nothing like following your last breath like a red ribbon into eternity to keep you real, people, when you come back. Oh, by the gods. So yes, so that was when the love energy was starting to slowly begin to unfurl for me after long periods of grief over that fucking dreadlocked nitwit Dave and all the other monsters that I had taken into my body, mind and spirit. Just have to shake my head on that one. Awake after only 5 hours sleep. Beautiful morning though. I'm sitting outside with Charlie and Betty, who are both eating my yogurt, and Beauregard, who just asked me why the birds get to sit on the table and eat breakfast with me. I don't know the answer to that question. Bobo was a very intelligent dog and very wise. 10th of March 2017. Shabbat Shalom, ya all. Oneg Shabbat for me, emotionally battered by the ghouls from the past and passive-aggressive tricksters and other assorted fakes, but there will always be true loves and music and laughter and loyalty, not just in the bad times. My beautiful, staunch friend Jared is coming with me to scatter David Phillips's ashes. We agree that when they arrive, the molten pieces of trashy ash, we shall leave him in my car boot. I will not bring him inside my house. I don't want him here in my sacred space. I came here to escape him and Gisela and Buck and all their vile, creepy henchmen. So no, he shall not pass my front door. In addition, I may save a few ashes to place on Buck's grave, which I, to this day, have always fantasized about pissing on. But then Jared said, don't give him your essence, Tanya. He's so fucking evil. Don't even give him your urine. I thought about it and I thought, yes, he's kind of right about that. Anyway, I didn't end up doing that at all. Save ashes from Dad's grave to put with the other enemy. It's like, no. Let them all wallow in their own individual corners of their own hells of their own creation, by the way, if there even is a hell. Maybe I should be out there hailing Satan right now. Someone. It's such an inversion, our entire paradigm, that my mind, I struggle mentally to recalibrate from it sometimes. It's just so, what was good is evil and what was evil was good, and I feel like Heyoka riding on a horse back to front, head down, ass up. It's crazy making, but that's been my life too. That's how I discovered I'm a shaman. David colluded with Buck, which cost me safety, sanity, and a decent share of my inheritance, so he can be an everlasting crumb in the grave of that evil, vicious psychopath. I would place some of his ashes on David Davidson's grave also, if I knew where the cunt was buried, as they too loved each other to the point of bedevilment. Like cures like, people. My father, the medical intuitive, and my former lover, the homeopath psychopath, really did cure each other. Filthy they were. But anyway, c'est la vie, babies. Meanwhile, in the sea at Wellington Point, their residual DNA can splash about on the shores of King Island. My mummy so laughed at the bad penny coming back time and again. She can enjoy merging her residue with her former beloved / enemy. Case, och doch Mensch. But sorry, you guys really were a true family of pedophiles and bastardry, violence, neglect, financial abuse, betrayal, and sexual infidelity and debauchery. I can be bemusedly grateful for the gift of weaving together the last of my enemies in a perfectly aligned seam in a paradigm of time, then step away from it like the soiled, soul-destroyed garment of a dead life. To begin a new life with my true friends and loves. Kismet. To my true friends and true loves. I love you so much. I love you every day in every way. I adore you. For now, I must wait in limbo for the arrival of the smoke and ashes that was my former progenitor. A week or two, long enough for my sciatic nerve to unclench for the long walk to King Island and back. Timing, cosmic timing is everything. And as I said yesterday, it took nearly a month, or over a month. Yes, it was over a month for those ashes to arrive. After her pressuring me to take them, I don't know what the fucking delay was. It was weird, people. Maybe they did medical experiments on my father's corpse, because it should not have taken a month for his body to be cremated and the ashes to be returned to me. It was a bit weird. So I dread to think what went on with all of that after all that pressure to accept him back. And I didn't want him, did not want those ashes at my house, at or near me. I don't want nothing of that man near me ever again for the rest of eternity. Even if I was once a little zygote floating around in his scrotum, right? For the love of all the gods. I mean, it's almost funny, but it's really not. It's really not. So my body goes into mock paralysis. Oh no, wait, sorry, skipped a bit. Oh dear goddess, I am tired. I might even go back to bed. Cuddle myself back to life again. 1:21 a.m. Trying to sleep, but it is difficult with back pain and leg pain shooting down my left leg. So I have taken 2 more Panadol Osteos, which are useless as fuck. I am healed. That's called self-hypnosis and mindfulness, people. I am healed. Oh yes, I am. I'm just going to lie here until the pain subsides and then hopefully sleep. Julie Goddard wrote, oh my God, Panadol Osteo is crap. You need something stronger like Panadine. I reply, you are right, useless crap. I had a rough night trying to find a way to sleep with such pain. I tried EFT tapping, no help. Yelling at myself to heal, as I fully know it is a body reaction to the insanity of being made responsible for my dead father, even though I told the aged care facility I don't want him dead or alive. So my body goes into mock paralysis, and maybe I should just do my wild dance out in the garden and scream myself into exhaustion, as that might unclench the nerve. Or get me locked up, lol. Been there, done that, got the t-shirt. Well, they didn't lock me up, but they thought about it. For screaming out your pain, right? The cunts. Anyway, a few short hours of sleep from 4 a.m. till now, up and at 'em. I've got hay fever too. Itchy, bitchy, sneezy and seized up like a trussed up old chicken. Funny life, funny woman. The gods have my back. I am beautiful, powerful, wildly abundant, blessed with loving friends and free of toxic shock syndrome people from my past. They really were like a toxic shock syndrome, people. I am healed. I am whom I am becoming. More of myself. It is a beautiful day, clear and crisp. I can hear a high vibrational frequency, a high-pitched hum. If it is not me having a stroke, then it is my angels trying to comfort me. No cigar smoke today, whomever that was. I am happy and grateful to be brought through this season. P.S. I tried the stretches, but it did not relieve the pain. I will have to keep trying. Everyone gets sick or hurts themselves after a close family friend dies, even one's enemies. It is a normal reaction to the stress. I'm gonna be okay. As long as my teeth don't go so very wrong again. That was excruciating. 10th of March 2000, and almost as a reaction, I felt all my teeth, all the nerve endings, all across, all immediately go like a wave. Whoosh. That's how psychosomatic I can be. And like, no teeth, just behave yourselves now. We're not going to do that dance again. Please, God. 10th of March 2016, 3:43 p.m, muggy today, sitting at my kitchen table in my sarong which has slipped to my waist, dripping in sweat. Ugh. Bobo had a swim in his clam pool too. He loves that little pool now. I am trying to catch the breeze coming through the kitchen windows. I might as well give up and take a cold shower. I really need to gather enough cash together to buy that above ground swimming pool. I am done sweltering. Never underestimate the power of water to revive, rejuvenate, and rejoice. 10th of March 2015. I got up at 5 p.m, felt edgy and blah, a brief panic attack. So I did what I do when I can't stand myself. I went in the garden. I smashed up some chipped old china for my new plan to get into mosaicing. Lol. I managed to smash my left forefinger nail as well. Ouch. Then I did some washing, filled up my larger fish pond, watered a bit around the back garden, but not a complete dousing, just a splash around the driest bits. Now inside with a really wet house dress, contented cats, sore finger, but feel much more alive. My moods are very labile and I feel really fatigued. It's been a tough few months, and that combined with menopause symptoms has made me feel rather crappy. 1 more month until I turn 50, so perhaps I will settle down soon, smiley face, or alternatively, get even wilder and madder, laughing my ass off. Well, wilder anyway. I'm not as crazy as they painted me to be, darlings. Sorry, you must be so disappointed. Life is beautiful. I might as well keep riding that wild Mustang to the edge of the world and take a flying leap. It's the journey that counts, not the destination. Thinking Thelma Louise here. I had a mad psych nurse friend, Gail, 15 years we were friends. Supported her and her addicted daughter and other bipolar daughter and her little granddaughter that had multitudes of issues. And oh dear goddess, they were a full-on family to deal with. But anyway, Gail caught swine flu in 2009, and I actually did think she might die of it. She was desperately ill. And I was driving her to the hospital, and they sent her straight back home without even treatment. And I said, I'll just keep an eye on you for the night, which I'm glad I did. So I put her in the spare room, and made her a cup of tea, and we're sitting there, and she's looking at me, and she says, there's lizards, furry lizards climbing all over the walls. Can't you see them? She was hallucinating. I said, there's plenty of geckos in this house, Gail, but trust me, they're not furry. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. They're all furry. Oh, they're so beautiful. So she was hallucinating off her fucking nut. They'd given her tramadol. So I went, right, not happy about this. So I went and rang 13 Health because I wasn't 100% sure if I should take her back or not, what to do. They said, take her straight back to the hospital. So I drove her back to the PA. Was it the PA or the QE2? I think it was the PA. Get her back there. Mind you, I'm in my own level of distress and constant chronic fatigue too. But I didn't have swine flu. I did not catch swine flu. This was miraculous because I have very bad lungs. So anyway, I drive her back there and I say to the hospital staff, I don't know why you sent this woman home. She's, number one, desperately ill, and number two, she's now hallucinating furry lizards crawling all over my bedroom walls. I said, you need to take her in and give her proper treatment, and I will not leave this hospital until you do. And they looked at me because I get very bolshy when there's a crisis and I'm angry and I can see a great injustice happening, right? So they kind of looked at me and said, oh, yes, took her in, then came back to me and said, we'll have to keep her in for 24 hours. We've got to flush out her system. She's allergic to the tramadol. All right. So anyway, I go to pick her up. Did they keep her in 24 hours? Anyway, so I come back to pick her up. She gets in the car wearing a surgical mask, and in those days, I still had my little tiny Mazda 121 Shades hatchback, which is, it's like a mobile roller skate. It's a tiny little four-seater car, but one of those ones where you have to move the seats over and climb in the back. Fucking nuisance that car was. I actually raised my children, driving them to and from school in that little vehicle. So anyway, so there's not a lot of space between her and I, right? Between the passenger seat and me. So she turns to me and takes off. She's a nurse, a registered nurse, and a 40-year forensic psych nurse by profession. Takes off her mask, starts talking to me, and tells me that she wants me to die with her like Thelma and Louise. So I look at her, I said, number one, Gail, put on your fucking mask because I do not want swine flu. Number two, I'm not going to die with you. I love you, but not that much. What? She says in her English accent. What? You don't want to die with me? I want you to die with me. I want us to go together. She had some weird psychosexual fetish about me, which was weird because she wasn't technically gay, but very raunchy heterosexual when she got going, almost terrifyingly so. So I looked at her and thought, what is this fucking psychosexual fantasy you're having with me now that you're dying of swine flu? And she's like, I think I'm going to die, Tanya. I think I'm going to die. She was, to be fair, very ill. So I looked at her. I said, number one, you're not going to die. Number two, put on your mask. I hate masks. I would never tell anyone to wear a mask under normal circumstances. But she was infectious at that point in time. I said, put on your fucking mask. I said, have a bit of respect for my lungs, which you know are very, very fragile. I said, and cut your crap, Gail. It's enough that I've had to come and pick you up from the hospital and bring you home. We're not going to do the Thelma and Louise, even though you dream about it. And I said, and by the way, when I die, it will be alone and very likely by my own hand, in my own choosing, in my own circumstances. So you can stop with your death cult fantasies of all the magical, wondrous ways you want to die with me. Anyway, astonishingly, I stayed friends with that woman until 2015, when she became increasingly toxic and it got too much, even for my very stoic nervous system. So anyway, there's some story about that, but it was astonishing that I'd been exposed to swine flu through her quite a few times in that week. Didn't get swine flu. Did not even get a sniffle that year, 2009. Didn't catch COVID until 4 years later last year too. So Mama T, who has the most precarious, fragile, fraught lungs and is chronically sick with asthma or bronchitis, I must have some kind of angel looking after me, or a very powerful, first response, immune response, probably to protect my very fragile lungs, right? Because I don't come down with things that easily, like flus and respiratory, biologically engineered respiratory illnesses. Maybe the natural bugs are the ones that get me, Could be, I don't know. I'm not a scientist, but I just found that a bit weird. But I'm grateful, by the gods I'm grateful. She was so ill with that swine flu, I actually did think at that point in time that she was cactus. Anyway, here we go on. 10th of March 2014. I'm really thirsty. I need to make another cup of tea. Oh, well, we're nearly finished with my readings today. 10th of March 2014. Today I had the humbling experience of taking the contents of my money box, a grand total of $20.45. It's okay. When my beautiful skull money box broke the other day on my mother's yacht site, there was no money in it. I was like, oh man, it'd be a sign if it was at least full of money. Anyway, who needs money, people? Me. But when people go to offer me $50, because I know there was a sexual agenda behind it, babies, I reject their money and their sexuality, and they have a complete breakdown in front of me. Why won't you accept? What's wrong with me that you won't accept my money? Oh, poor borderline little waif routine, trying to make Mama T take pity on him so I'd take him home and give him a good fuckery, right? No, Richie, that's not how it works with the Tanya, and you're a Vietnam vet who also has trauma issues. So really, you needed to acquire some skills in how to manage a woman like me. Don't think that we're for purchase, by the way, motherfucker. But we used to have fun, Richie and I. He was American. And the architecture at the back of the Livewire bar in the Treasury Casino is actually very beautiful. I've spent many a time, on my second or third Jack Daniels, listening to the band in my infamous little spot, usually looking up lasciviously at my beautiful friend. And I spent many a time looking up at the architecture behind the band, up in the architraves up high. And Richie, he was short like me, actually he was shorter than me. I used to joke, it was a bit unkind, but I used to joke that he was a bit like Rumpelstiltskin and I was like Rapunzel. I don't know, I probably mixed my fairy stories up, but you get the vibe. We look like an odd couple side by side. But he was a nice friend to me for a while, except when he pointed the bone at me and told me that I was probably going to die, and I got fair pissed off about that. And he wanted to have He said, I'm stockpiling libations to the voodoo gods in honour of your spirit, Tanya, because I think you're going to die soon. And he says, I'm getting all the libations ready. He said this like literally a week before that I had that astonishing, life-threatening surgery. So I came back from that surgery and I turned to him and I said, I pointed at him actually. I said, Richie, you motherfucker. Oh, what have I done? I was still holding on to my wounded side from the surgery. I said, don't ever fucking point the bone at me again. I said, how much Jack Daniels have you got stockpiled now? Oh, quite a lot, Tanya. I said, keep stockpiling, boy chick, I said, because you didn't get me this time. And he literally went white and started shaking. I said, you must be a bit psychic. I said, because I didn't know the surgery was coming up. They gave me 5 days notice. And I said, I was on my last breath. I've just had a near-death experience. And he started shaking. I'm so sorry, Tanya. I'm so sorry. I went, look, I forgive you. I said, but, I'm pretty mad at you. Don't point the bone at me. I'm already walking the razor's edge with Lady Death at the best of times. Anyway, we danced wildly and joyfully and carousingly. I came back with an extra uber soul. I'm quite certain of that. Anyway, we look up, and he had a habit of looking up at the architecture, and then he'd look at me and I'd look at him, and we'd both scream, New Orleans, baby! Which is funny because I've never been to New Orleans. I've never been to the United States of America. I could have gone in 1979 when I was 14, when my parents fucked off on a big cruise. My parents, my mother and de facto stepfather, fucked off on a big cruise to America, and they got in a car and they drove from one side of America all the way, I think it was LA, all the way to New York, right? They had a fabulous holiday. And you know what? I should have gone with them, but I kind of hated them too. And it was a year before my school certificate, and I didn't want my education fucked up because of their frivolity and narcissism and selfishness. So anyway, as a consequence of that, I've never been to New Orleans, which is, the voodoo capital of America, kind of. Probably Louisiana too. Anyway, I always wanted to go. Always. I've always wanted to travel all around the world. I haven't been anywhere since I was 8 years old. So he's screaming New Orleans. And I went, have you ever been to New Orleans, Richie? He went, yeah, I have. I've been there often. He said, I've been to Louisiana too. He said, oh, Tanya, he said, you'd love it. You would love it. I said, Richie, I want to meet a real McCoy voodoo queen. He says, oh, honey, there's a voodoo queen on every street corner. And he goes like this, implying that they're all whores, right? And I went, no, really. He went, no, really. He said, you would love it there. You would so love it. Anyway, Mama T never goes anywhere because of poverty. And the closest I can get to New Orleans is dancing with my little midget bone pointer, screaming out our joy and delight at the architecture at the Life of Wire bar. Oh, it's kind of ironic that I now dance at the Brooklyn Standard, because Brooklyn's a suburb in New York. And my first home that I lived in when I first got married, my husband had a duplex in Brooklyn, Wellington. So my spirit is going in concentric circles and little hell loops, but bringing me closer and closer and closer to home, Brooklyn. Anyway, that's my little story about that. But where was I? I've got to tell you something about that story I wanted to share with you. I got carried away. I got flubbery. I've gone into the flow and I've come out of the flow. Anyway, oh yeah, Richie disappeared from the casino after a while. Don't know what happened to him. Maybe he went back to America. Like, he was a sweetheart, but a little bit obsessed with me, you know. Anyway, where was I? Oh yes, the grand total of $20.45 to Woolies as the banks were already closed. I don't give a fuck about money, you know. I really don't. I mean, I want it, like an energy, like my true love, passionate, romantic partner. I crave it and I want my precious. But if I can't have it, I'm just like, what can you do? Just be prosaic. Let it just roll off the shoulders. Anyway, I helped the young lass, count out all the coins, then merrily went into the store to buy cat food, leaving me enough to put $10 petrol in my car. Lol, living my dreams. Prosperity is having $20 in loose change in the last moment when all is lost. Ha! So this is how I live my life, people. It gets a bit frightening at times. I was a bit frightened last week when I was down to my last $30, and then I got blessed with 2 free drinks. I was like, and the Spirit said to me, "You'll have enough money." Oh, that was wonderful. It was just astonishingly wonderful. Anyway, you have to laugh. I am borrowing money from Crystal so I can attend Mojo Burning. Christian Trihorn and his beautiful wife, I've forgotten her name. But anyway, they used to put on Mojo Burning Music Festival every year. And I will pay her back the following Tuesday. It's unusual, Crystal lending me money. She's so fucking vicious about money with me usually. So that's actually a nice memory there. She actually helped me out to go to a wonderful gig, right? I may be broke, so what else is new? But I will enjoy music and dance, damn it. Crystal has my car on Friday. That's probably why she felt obliged to help me out a bit, since she was using me for my vehicle constantly. So I guess I will take the bus in, smiley face. Everything is fitting into perfect plans. As the Beatles said, all you need is love. All I need is love and $20 million. But I'll settle for true love, right? Like, no one's going to want me with my broken ass fucking bank balance and my broken ass ways. But at least I can see the funny side of it. 10th of March 2009. Crystal was performing in Springfield in the Tempest on Saturday night. We're all going. Woohoo! Oh, and you know what? That was a wonderful performance. I actually took my mother-in-law, my then boyfriend Courtney's mother, Sybil, who was a New Zealander like me. I took her along. She actually asked to come, which I thought was unusual, and she thoroughly enjoyed it. She went on and on about it for months after and really loved it, you know, so it was lovely. I wonder if she's still alive, Sybil. She ditched me like a hot potato when her son ditched me. That's the awful thing, is you have these friendships with your boyfriends or, you know, your girlfriend's family, and then when it's over, they drop you like a hot burning potato. It's like, actually, no, I remember now. No, that's not fair. Tell the truth, Tanya, tell the truth. I always like to tell the truth. I remember now. She stayed friends with me for about a year after he and I broke up. So that was quite loyal of her to me, actually, because we were good. You know, I was good to that woman. She was good to me. And his sister, Sonia, stayed in touch with me for a while too. It was very sweet too. And then I was just dropped. But I guess, they stuck by me for as long as they felt they needed to assuage their own guilt about their shitty fucking son and their shitty fucking brother. So there is that. Sybil's probably dead now anyway. She was in her 70s back then. So what's that? 2009, 15 years. Anyway, I'm not gonna ring him and find out. Got no interest in that. I'll let it go, let God. So, thus concludes today's readings of Even Date, and there's movement in the force, forward movements. I can feel it all around me. It's like being granted a beautiful mantle put around my shoulders of extra love and protection and magic and mystery and awe, and it's quite beautiful. And if I weren't so tired, I'd be going into a trance, drumming and communing with that spirit right now, because I feel like they have potent messages to pass on to me. But I don't do trance drummings when I'm in a hypomanic or overly exhausted state, because I don't want to leave myself open for negative, deceiving, lying, fucking demonic imps. I've had quite enough of them in human form in my life, so I don't invite them down in my energy by doing stupid things like leaving myself wide open, right, when I'm vulnerable, exhausted or weakened or unwell. Well, I'm always on kind of sub-level, subpar unwellness, but you know what I'm saying. I make sure that I'm clear-headed and feeling powerful in my core before I open up to the spirit world, because it's bloody dangerous, people. Although I've been getting very clear and pristine and validated messages lately, so that too is a bit astonishing, because I go through all my notes. I write down the notes, right, and then I'm like, fairy stories, projection, wish fulfillment, BS, lies, bullshit, crazy shit, and I analyse myself. My psych said to me recently, my handsome, beautiful, worthy psychiatrist, he says to me, "You've made me redundant, I'm unemployable, you don't need me anymore." He says, "I'm completely redundant now." I looked into his eyes, said, "Brian, I love you dearly, doctor, and you, sir, will never be redundant. I'm going to need you for the rest of my life, because I know how I move in and out of ordinary reality and how life can kick me right fucking in the face and how I can fall down, dissemble in a moment, because a lifetime of hell loops, right? So no, he will never be redundant. And he's a wonderful doctor to me. But he's right in the respect that I do my own analysis, presenting my truth on YouTube, reading my own journaling, which is sometimes intense and excruciatingly painful, even for, by my own standards. And I do my own pep talks. Here's one from a trance drumming. I'll just read it quickly to you. It's so true too. It's kind of a pep talk. 16th of January 2020, so that's just over 4 years ago. Never give up on love. We love you. Well, this is we love you, meaning the spirits or the angels or my guides or whoever I'm communicating with says, we love you, we honour you, we see you. Be conscious of the different love languages. I sometimes struggle with that. The ones who truly love you will manifest and show their pure intent. You need to learn to trust. So some of them are quite quirky and funny. So here's another one. I'm not going to read the whole lot to you because, obviously some of it is quite crazy and clearly wish fulfillment and bullshit, but things that I thought were bullshit sometimes come true in astonishing ways, and then I have to go through my notes again and go, oh, wait a minute, I didn't think that was even possible. What's going on now? Try and keep a thread of reality in my crazy Heyoka style world, right? 3rd of April 2020, 12:43 p.m. I even recorded the time. That's very professional, Tanya Phillips Aarons. Here I write, enjoy passionate romantic thoughts, joyfulness. And then they said, Bavakasha, which is Hebrew for when you say Toda Rabbah, thank you very much, the person replies Bavakasha, which means my pleasure or with pleasure. So then I got paranoid, as I sometimes do, and very sternly I said, why are they speaking Hebrew to me, Spirit? Because I was worried it was David Davidson, who comes through from time to time, still haunts me, even though he's been dead since 2016 and we didn't speak since about 2001, still hangs around my energy. Must be something about David's hanging around women's energy, like my father that couldn't stay away from my mother, right? Motherfucker. And Dave Charles, it still haunts me occasionally at red lights, and David Davidson, who actually has the chutzpah to come through in my trance drumming. So I usually go, get out, Spirit. So straight away I said, why are they speaking Hebrew, Spirit? Because I know the only one who speaks Hebrew to me is him. And the response was, and this is actually quite funny, like I laughed my ass off about it, sings Iris, which is Goo Goo Dolls Iris, and then sang The Soul Man He Played Too. So you see how they're enmeshed together even in the spirit world? My father, David Phillips, and my former ex-psychopath lover, David Davidson, still playing with my fragile little mind. But I'm not so fragile. I'm onto their fucking evil game. And then they randomly said, Tuesday. And I put question mark 15th of April. And then they said, dancing tonight. And then I replied, smart ass, very funny, not actually talking to me. So anyway, sometimes it's psychobabble and sometimes they're quite potent, accurate messages that, pardon me, even knock me off my socks sometimes. I even had my Māori cousin, part Māori cousin, Megan's great-grandmother, who was a chief's wife, a chief's daughter and a chief's wife, so Māori royalty, coming through. That was in May 2020, and she said to me, girl, mana toa, mana means, mana is your spiritual prowess, and then they say mana toa, which means extra strong, powerful prowess. And then I asked, am I in danger? No, it means we honour you as a spirit. because I was worried they were sending me extra mana because I was going to have to fight some fucking dangerous thing off. So, very real fear in my life, actually. What else did they say here? Arahanui, which means much, much, much love. And I thought that was kind of lovely. But then they were talking some other BS about former lovers, which I knew was lies. I just know it's BS. Here I write, didn't I say I felt the cloak being put around me? That's how I know when she's around. Her name is Tehui Nana, or something like that. Koa Tehui for short. It's weird that she came to me since I'm not a blood relative of hers. She's my cousin's mother's grandparent. So it's very weird they came to me. But my auntie Winnie was very fond of me. My Māori auntie was very, very fond of me as a child. So maybe that is the link why they came through to communicate with me. But anyway, here I write, this was back in, what did I say? 13th of May 2020. I see your Māori cloak, symbol of being a chief, protection, and yeah, very sweet. But honestly, a lot of the information was half right, but also not quite right, kind of a bit wrong too. They kept going on about a love partnership and it was the wrong person. So they had me chasing up literally the wrong tree. So once I realised that, I got to let that go. That's toxic and not healthy, and I've just got to move on in life and pour all the love that I've been expending out to fucking wastrels and idiots, pour it back into me and grow my own heart back again, right? My own magical kintsugi heart. And I'm glad I used that bit of common sense and didn't completely listen to my spirit messages, or I would have still been flailing in fairyland for a bit longer. So you've got to always be pragmatic, live in the real world, even though you fall in love with people because they're sweet and sexy and, you know, a bit enchanting and a bit devoted, and in that moment you've got to think to yourself, well, that's lovely and that's sweet, and I'll soak up the love like a desiccated sponge on a desolate fucking shoreline somewhere, and I'll just enjoy it for what it is. But at the same time, you've got to keep your wits about you and you think, how badly can this go wrong, and what circumstances surrounding this are not quite kosher, and what's the true agenda? Are they trying to lure me into a false sense of security and then rip it out from underneath me again? Because I've had a lifetime of that, which is why I never have any money and any real security, apart from my housing commission house and my pension. So I'm always got to try and self-analyse my own emotional states, which is why my psychiatrist says he's redundant now, because I'm very good at doing that now. I'm very good at trying to keep even keel. But I'm also kind of looking at, you know, other people's interactions with me and thinking, is this for real? Is this genuine? Is this authentic? Is this heartfelt? And where is this going to go? And I need evidence and proof that they're heartfelt and genuine and sincere, and I need that person in my life to walk their walk and talk their talk. But if they want me in their life, to show up, keep up, date me, treat me with honour and integrity and deep love and affection, without games or artifice, and at the very barest minimum, with harm to none and competition with none. Don't want anyone hurt because of my silly, romantic, idealistic, Pollyanna spirit blowing life back into herself by falling in love with men. You know, that's not cricket, that's not fair, and I have to maintain dignity and honour. And as my cousin's ancient grandmother would say, maintain the aroha without slipping sideways into fairy tales and fairyland and getting myself het up and distraught and destroyed, right? That must not happen. But I tell you what, when I feel that cloak being put around me, that's her. That's Megan's grandmother, surrounding me in love and light and mana and peace. So I accept that with gratitude and grace and happiness. So I have spirit people with me that from all cultures and religions and walks on planet Earth. You know, I even had a living medicine man's a Meduan of the Ojibwa tribe guide me at one stage and do some healing on me and try and help me with my love life. Way back then, we're talking, oh my gosh, must be 15, 20 years ago now. Can't even remember. 15. No, it was after that. Well, it was around about 2013, so it wasn't 15 years ago. So 11 years ago. Well, I wasn't far off. And he said, I will light up your spirit in such a way that when you meet the one, he will light up for you and you will know. And that drew in that dreadlock nitwit Dave, didn't it? Well, he was a false light surrounded by disco lights. There was a murder on the dance floor. Oh, you have to laugh. You have to laugh. But he was surrounded on this golden light and he was looking at me so lovingly and I thought, oh my goodness, it's the one. I really am. You know what? I have to laugh. I really am an idiot sometimes. I really am. Rex of the Ojibwa tribe. No, it's not his responsibility, the fact that I'm a dickhead sometimes. But anyway, look, here we are, all these years later, and Mama T, the Tanya, the psychedelic dreamer, can laugh about her non-existent love life now. It's reached the point that it's become comedy, darling. Anyway, on that note, on that happy note of laughter and mischief and delight, as I said, I am grateful for the romance and the sweetness extended to me in the last 6 months or so, and it's all very heartwarming and soul nourishing and encouraging and, you know, delightful, and it's done me the power of good. And thank you to my beautiful friends, and my sweethearts and my darlings, and life goes on. Aroha nui, my darlings. Aroha nui. And on that note, I'm going to probably crawl back into bed. So love you all. Bye for now. Have a beautiful day in the space-time continuum, and rejoice in your spirit messengers, no matter what culture or what echelon they come through from. But use discernment and tell them when they're BSing you so they know that you're onto them, by the way, and fine-tune the messaging so it's a clear conduit and a clear channel, and build up your mana so you can flick off the demonic imps, physical and non-physical, and shake off the shake off the psychic parasites. Quickly before I go, I read an article this morning posted by Thomas Sheridan in the Hocus Pocus group about nematode worms in Chernobyl have been found to have survived the 4 decades of radiation and are somehow managing to thrive in that environment. But only the nematodes, right? I wanted to comment, what happened to the fucking cockroaches? But you see, where there's life, there's hope, even if it only ends up being for a nematode worm. So I just thought about it and I thought, oh yes, at the end of the day, my friend Lynn, who was obsessed with me having worms recently, she's very psychic, my friend Lynn, she was onto something, because here we have now radiated nematode worms surviving the intense chronic radiation at Chernobyl. So be like an irradiated worm. Survive everything, darlings, including your broken kintsugi'd heart. Blow life into it. Turn that spiritual gold and give it a little twist, and like the snitch in Harry Potter, let it fly, babies. Let it fly. Be joyous. Be carefree. Be wild. Be discerning. And hold your line. And as always, my darlings, never, ever let the bastards grind you, me, us down. Because ultimately, when all is said and done, it's only the worms that will survive. Oh, the irony. But on that dark note, I bid you goodbye. Have a laugh, look at it all and think, what a load of bollocks, innit? Anyway, love to you all. Bye for now from Sacred Space at Titania's Realm.